Hello students, I hope you are doing well, studying properly and learning all your concepts. Two friends. O. Henry wrote exciting stories which are widely read even today due to their element of surprise and sudden twists towards the end. Read one of O. Henry's classic stories to discover it yourself. Let's read it. The cop on the beat moved up the avenue, looking strong and important. This was the way he always moved. He was not thinking of how he looked. There were a few people on the street to see him. It was only about 10 at night, but it was cold and there was wind blowing with a little rain in it. He stopped at the doors as he walked along, trying each door to make that it was locked and safe. Now and then he turned and looked up and down the street. He was a fine-looking cop, a watchful guardian of peace. People in this part of the city went home early. Now and then, you might see the lights of a shop or of a small restaurant. But most of the doors belonged to the business places that had been closed hours ago. Then the cop suddenly slowed his walk. Near the door of a darkened shop, a man was standing with an unlighted cigar in his mouth. As the cop walked towards him, the man spoke quickly. The man started speaking. "It's all right, officer," he said. "I'm waiting for a friend. 20 years ago, we agreed to meet here tonight. It sounds strange to you, doesn't it? I'll explain if you want to be sure that everything's all right. About 10 years ago, there was a restaurant where this shop stands, Big Joey Brady's restaurant. It was here until 5 years ago," said the cop. The man in the doorway struck a match and lit his cigar. The man in the doorway, what did he do? He struck a match and he lit his cigar. The light showed a colorless, square face with bright eyes and a little white scar near his right eye. He saw a scar near the right eye of the man. He had a large diamond in his scarf pin. It was a big diamond. 20 years ago tonight," said the man, "I had dinner with Jimmy Wells. He was my best friend and the best fellow in the world. He and I grew up together here in New York like two brothers. I was 18 and Jimmy was 20. The next morning I was to start for the West to try my fortunes. You couldn't have pulled Jimmy out of New York. He thought it was the only place on earth. We agreed that night that we would meet here again in 20 years. We thought that in 20 years we would know that what kind of men we were and what future waited for us." So the man is waiting for his best friend Jimmy, जिससे वो क्या मिला था 20 years पहले मिला था, and then he went to the West to try and make his fortunes. "It sounds interesting," said the cop. "A long time between meetings, it seems to me. Have you heard from your friend since you went west?" "Yes, we did write to each other for some time," said the man. "But after a year or two, we stopped. The West is big. I moved around everywhere and I moved quickly. But I know that Jimmy will meet me here if he can. He was as true as any man in the world. He'll never forget. I came 1,000 miles to stand here tonight. I'll be glad about that if my old friend comes too," he said. कि हमारी बात तो नहीं हुई है बहुत टाइम से, but I am sure that Jimmy will come. He then took out a fine watch covered with small diamonds. "There, minutes before 10, he said. "It was 10 that night when we said goodbye here at the restaurant door." So he said कि उस दिन भी 10 बज रहे थे, अभी भी 10 बजने वाले हैं. "You were successful in the West, weren't you?" asked the cop. "I surely was. I hope Jimmy had done half as well. He was a plodder. I've had to fight for my success. In New York, a man doesn't change much. In the West, you learn how to fight for what you get." The cop took a step or two. "I'll go on my way," he said. "I hope your friend comes all right. If he isn't here at 10, are you going to leave?" "I'm not," said the other. "I'll wait half an hour at least. If Jimmy is alive unhurt, he'll be there by time. Good night, officer." "Good night," said the cop, and he walked away, trying doors as he went. There was now a cold rain falling and the wind was stronger. The few people walking along the street were also hurrying. Trying to keep warm at the door of the shop stood the man who had come 1,000 miles to meet a friend. Such a meeting could not be certain, but he waited. He decided he would wait. About 20 minutes he waited, and then a tall man in a long coat came hurrying across the street. He went directly to the waiting man. "Is that you, Jimmy Wells?" he asked doubtfully. "Is that you, Bob?" cried the man at the door. The new man took the other man's hand in his. "It's Bob, it surely is. I was certain I would find you if you were still alive. 20 years is a long time. The old restaurant is gone, Bob. I wish it were here so that we could have had another dinner in it." "Has the West been good to you?" he asked. "Is the West good?" "It gave me everything I asked for. You've changed, Jimmy. I never thought you were so tall." He never thought that Jimmy would be so tall. "Oh, I grew a little after when I was 20, he said. "I grew after 20. "Are you doing well in New York, Jimmy?" "Well enough. I work for one of the city departments." "Come on, Bob, we'll go to a place I know and have a good long talk about old times," he said. "Chalo, Bob, let's go to an old place and have a talk." The two men started along the street, arm in arm. The man from the west was beginning to tell the story of his life. The other, with his coat up to his ears, listened with interest. At the corner stood a drugstore, bright with electric lights. When they came near, each turned to look at the other's face. So, जब lights के पास आए, they looked at each other's faces. The man from the west suddenly stopped and pulled his arm away. "You're not Jimmy Wells," he said. 20 years is a long time, but not long enough to change the shape of a man's nose," he said. 20 years is long, but you can't change somebody's nose. "It sometimes changes a good man into a bad one," said the tall man. The tall man said, "In 20 years, a good man can become a bad man." "You've been under arrest for 10 minutes, Silky Bob," he said. "You've been under arrest for 10 minutes. Chicago cops thought you might be coming to New York. They told us to watch for you. Are you coming with me quietly?" That's why he said that, "Are you coming with me quietly?" So Bob was what? Bob was a thief. "But first, here is something I was asked to give you. You may read it here at the window. It's from a cop named Wells." It's from whom? From a cop named Wells. So what is Wells? Jimmy Wells. What is he doing? He is now a cop. The man from the west opened a little piece of paper. His hand began to tremble a little as he read. "Bob, I was at the place on time," he said. "I was at the place on time. When you struck the match to light your cigar, I saw the face of the man wanted by Chicago cops." He realized that who is the man? The man is the person wanted by Chicago cops. "I didn't want to arrest you myself, so I went and got another cop and sent him to do the job," he said. "I never wanted to arrest you myself, so I called for another cop." This is written by Jimmy, slightly simplified, O. Henry. Word meanings: cop, a police officer; avenue, a wide street; fortune, luck; turn, to cause to move on an axis, to change; watch, to keep awake; strange, unfamiliar; darken, to make dark; struck off, strike; successful, happy; hurry, a great haste; tremble, to shake. Objective type questions: the cop was a watchful guardian of peace. These you'll do on your own. Fill in the blanks. The light showed a long square face with what? With a nose and a little diamond, a little sparkle near his eye. Similarly, you'll do the rest. Subjective type questions. Who was the man standing with an unlighted cigar in his mouth? He was a thief called Bob. What did he spoke quickly when he saw the cop? He spoke quickly that he's just out here to meet a friend, nothing else. These questions you'll do on your own. Now you have writing skills. During an airplane journey, describe your meeting with a celebrity sitting next to you. So you have a celebrity sitting next to you and you have to write a story. Grammatical skills. Join each pair of sentence with a conjunction. She is coughing. She had chili orange juice. She is coughing since she had chilled orange juice. Similarly, you'll do the rest. These you'll do in the same manner. Fill in the blanks with appropriate conjunctions. You are smart, but he is smarter. Similarly, you'll do the rest. Rewrite each of these simple sentences after using conjunctions in the bracket. They continued the game they were about to lose. Although they were about to lose, they continued the game. Similarly, बाकी करेंगे. Now you have activity skills. Google the writer of the chapter O. Henry and find some more interesting stories written by him and also describe him as well. You need to talk about O. Henry. I hope you understood this chapter properly. Read it again and revise all the questions to understand it even better.